So I'd like to make these slightly more dynamic. Unfortunately, I've got certain limitations in and around my room. But hey, oh fuck me. So this is what happens when you lose the base plate of your tripod on a shoot. So now you're shooting on a very sus tripod.
Sir, ये तो टट्टी है.
I would not be shooting on this. I shouldn't be shooting on this, but I am shooting on this. Also, that's my current setup, by the way. So I've got this Ulanzi tube light. Well, I don't technically have it. It's my friend's. I'm borrowing it indefinitely. Jesse, I think I'm going to be keeping this, just letting you know.
Here, it's mine now.
Anywho, we're back to episode 1 and I want to talk about mentoring today. Now, to give you a little context about where I'm coming from, I'm about to graduate from the television broadcasting program at Seneca College. Now, as a student in Toronto, I'm trying to make a living for myself by doing what I love, which is creating videos and making films and telling stories. I'm a guy that enjoys a healthy combination of content creation and film production, and I'm currently working on doing everything I can to augment the skills needed to do what I love doing sustainably in the future. And mentorship's played a pretty important part in this, so let's get right into it. So the first one is the master of your craft. Now these are the guys who will guide you in specific ways in which you can improve your craft and what it is that you do. More often than not, these would just be other freelancers and friendly associates within the industry who'd have 5 to 6 years more experience than I did. And most importantly, they'd always have great advice concerning any immediate doubts that I'd have while starting off as a freelancer, and were always available on call to address any of these concerns. Now in my case, I reached out to Timothy Fairmatthews in Dubai, whose portfolio includes work with the likes of Will Smith, Jay Shetty, amongst numerous other projects. Now Tim's also got these mentoring services where he takes into account your experiences and gives you a very structured path to follow that doesn't just include goals but also includes the kind of discipline you need to incorporate in order to achieve these goals. Over a 1-hour call, he gave me a reality check on my current business practices and perspective, which resulted in some degree of what I'd like to call emotional damage. Then I started thinking to all the other people in my life who've also helped me do this. There's Amit Dhawan, who's a successful comedian and playwright based in Dubai. Amit wrote and directed all the plays that I acted in through my university days, and he'd always have very valuable feedback for any writing related work that I'd pass his way and would give me very constructive criticism. Then there's my boys Mukesh and Shashank, who got in the media production game way earlier. These are guys who've got significantly more experience just, using a camera for longer than I have. Now I spent time watching videos on YouTube and obviously understanding the settings of my camera, but in terms of specifications that you'd use while shooting under different conditions, when you're shooting in daylight, when you're shooting interiors, when you're shooting events, all the different things for you to keep in mind, the different kind of shots you can take, the different kinds of edits that you could incorporate into those videos. Then there's the champions of your cause. Now these are people who constantly have your back and support you in brainstorming ideas with you. They'll stand by your side and facilitate the implementation of these ideas. I'm also going to take this opportunity to give a huge shout out to Sony and Nirmala, who are 2 people that I just happened to meet in Toronto, and we just happened to connect on our shared love for content creation and storytelling. They've always made an effort to lend a helping hand to someone who's trying to make it within the media industry, and honestly not very many people are that accommodating. It gets pretty vicious over here. Then there's the co-pilot, someone who's in a similar boat, who's pretty much doing what you're doing and can strongly hold you to a sense of accountability. This can pretty much be like a work bestie or someone you always talk to about work, and a lot of these guys that I talked about earlier also fall within the same category. These are the people that you have a little bit of a reciprocal relationship with, where your input on matters are equally important and forces you to develop your skills. Then there's the anchor, which is a very interesting role because it can be anyone, whether it's family or friends, and it's not exactly limited to your professional field. These guys can also offer valuable insights by keeping your best interests in mind while helping you set winning strategies without compromising your core values. And then there's this rather unusual one, bear with me, reverse mentoring. Former CEO of General Electric, Jack Welch, saw that younger people were far more knowledgeable about leveraging technology and encourage senior executives to pair up with new joiners in the hope to bridge the learning gap on both sides. Thankfully, I've had a good knack for picking the kind of people I'd want guiding me, but trying to understand a little more about this mentorship process definitely boosted my self-awareness regarding incorporating guidance within my professional and personal practices. I hope this video encourages you to just generally evaluate where you get your advice and guidance from and bifurcate it into these kind of categories and isolate them so that you know what you need from whom who you need to take seriously when they say particular things, and what you need to take with a pinch of salt. And the process as a whole just makes you that much stronger to be able to receive constructive criticism by using that criticism to grow. That's all for today's vlog, and the next ones will be kind of more interesting. This is just a, what do you call, test run.